So this story comes from the Daily Beast, and I had to grab this story. There's so much delicious shit in this. Allegations of manosphere pastors gay past royal macho men.
What the hell?
Cecil, this article made me discover that there's a manosphere. And that's all I want to talk about. That's all I want to talk about.
I heard about this manosphere.
I guess.
I feel like I've been missing out, Tom.
Yeah, it's the manosphere hands of fate.
Sometimes those hands get a little handsy, Tom. Turns out.
If you're a flat earther, is it a mano-flat? I don't know. I don't believe in spheres. So you guys might remember Jesse Peterson. Jesse Peterson is a horrible... We've had him on the... We've covered him on the show, and then he just became so repetitive. He just kept saying the same fucking macho man misogynist stuff that it actually became tiresome to bother to cover.
It was racist too.
Yeah, he's super racist.
It was like he would say things like, he would just talk bad about black people. And you would think, what is wrong with you? And he was just kind of a psycho. Yeah,
he's a total fucking lunatic, but I guess he's a darling of the right-wing manosphere.
Sure.
So there's this, and I'm just discovering all this, that there is a right-wing, hyper-masculinized, toxic manosphere of fucking idiots who jerk themselves off over like how fucking tough they are or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking, lions, not sheep, and all that fucking nonsense, right?
It's like it's like a big vat of toxic masculinity.
Right. And it's all the weakest shit you've ever heard.
Masculinity you've ever seen in your life.
Seriously, it is the fucking weakest shit I've ever. It's just, there's nothing actually powerful about it.
And embarrassing.
It is so cringy, man.
And it's so like, it has no self-confidence.
That's exactly. And that's
the problem. It's this masculinity that has no self-confidence.
Yeah.
And there's something about that just feels so weak and, like I say, so cringy and so just embarrassing that every time I hear about it, I always think how, like, if you are a person who follows this and if you're a person who eats this up, I can't think that you. I just feel like, are you attracted to this because it's like projection? You know what I mean?
Yes. I literally had the same word in my head is that there, whenever I hear this sort of nonsense, there is never any self-reflection. There's self-reflection is absolutely not. It is always this externally focused projection bullshit that all these people seem like crazy obsessed with. Like they're crazy obsessed with the activity and actions of others. Like what other people are doing. What is everybody around me doing? What's happening with somebody else? Is somebody else not the right kind of man or not the right kind of woman or fucking, and it's like, why do you fucking care?
Yeah.
These are not relationships you are in. You are not that man. You don't have to be that person. Like you get to be whatever version of man you want to be. And literally nobody else cares because the only people that give a shit what kind of man I am are the people that are in my life.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else is affected by what kind of man I am.
The difference, and I think about this, very often they are anti-LGBT too, right?
Yes.
So they'll be anti-LGBT.
Every time,
right? Very anti-LGBT. Here is what the problem is that they have to follow a strict set of rules in their private life. So they want to make sure you have to follow the exact same set of rules in your life.
Do you think it's because they resent those rules?
I think it's because they are trapped in a place where they have to follow it. So they want to make sure everybody else does too. In some ways, I think it's because they're very ashamed of maybe liking some of those things. That happens very often. We find out. And in this particular story, there's many allegations that Jesse Lee Peterson might be part of that community and just denying it, right? There's a possibility that that's the case. At least there's been many allegations, not just like one person said something. And really, this is a church fight, right? Like this is a fight between people that are in a church.
Right.
Like, I don't care. Somebody's trying to take him down. It could be a smear campaign. I don't know. I don't care.
Literally doesn't matter.
I don't care if he's LGBT at all. Doesn't matter to me at all. The only thing that matters is that he puts it down and attacks it and thinks it's less than.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. But I think these people very much are stuck because their religion's very, very strict.
Yeah.
Their ideals are very, very strict. And when they see someone breaking those ideals, they have to stop them from breaking those ideals because they can't have fun.
Yes.
No one else can too.
Man, so I totally agree that that's where, it's funny because when you said like they have to live by these certain rules, I thought, well, I live by a set of rules. But then I thought, and I wrote that, like, the rules I write. And that's the difference, right?
It's a different set.
Like
you decide your own rules.
So I think about what my values are. And I think about this in very explicit terms. And then I think about what my values are. And then I create a set of rules around my behavior and my actions and even my thoughts that align themselves with the values that I have in order for me to wake up in the morning and feel like I've done a good job being a good man, right? And the difference is, like, I don't resent those rules because I can change them if they don't serve me or if I find out that they are dysfunctional in some way. And they're rules I got to write. But you're right, man. These rules are externally imposed on these macho man religious bigots. And they resent them because I think very often is the case. It may not be the case with Jesse Lee Peterson, right? But we've seen a million times this exact same story play out where the most virulently anti-whatever, hyper-masculine whatever turns out to really be desperate to live a different life. Desperate to be a different man.
Very often they fall to the demons.
Oh, right. Yes. Right.
I succumb to the demons for a little while. I'll tell you what, Tom, as a guy who's 100% straight and cis, I've never succumbed to the demons. You know what I mean?
They talk about it
because I don't have any of those urges. It's not that I'm putting down those urges. Like, have whatever urge you want. As long as nobody's hurt, like, have the urge. I'm not putting it down, but I'm saying, like, I've never had those urges.
Right.
So it's not,
there's no temptation you're fighting.
Temptation. I don't know what you're talking about, but that is always the conversation.
It's so funny how revealing that language is. Yeah. That language is intensely revealing. And they're talking about, like, succumbing to temptation. It's like, well, all right, man, but like you're talking about you.
Yeah, but like
it's
temptation is an individual thing.
Right. If you put a glass of eggnog on the table, I would not
goes undrunk.
Right. There's no part
no one
of
in the room drinks that drink.
Like, it's literally, I don't even see it as a food.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea that's a consumable thing.
Put 5 other people on the table and they would be rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to drink.
Andrew Torres would fucking guzzle that shit and fucking
I don't know anybody else
except
for Andrew, but I don't know anybody else.
They're the only person I know that drinks that nonsense.
I know that people send us messages and say that, but I think they're liars.
They are. They're just trying. Nobody likes Andrew Torres is the only bad person that
nobody likes it. Yeah. Admittedly, nobody likes it.
But like, that's exactly it. Like, that is not a temptation for me, but I get that it's a temptation for other people. But they always talk about it in those terms. Like, oh, they're tempting homosexuality. It's like, it's only tempting if you're homosexual.
It's only tempting if you lean that way, man.
Right.
Like,
which is fucking fine. If you lean that way, just fucking be that guy. Just do it.
It says a lot about you and what you think is tempting. Right?
This shit is so fucking funny. I love that it's boiling up. He got kicked out of their manosphere. He got kicked out, dude.
And this reminds me of all the other church fights we see where this could be about money. It might be that there's nothing in his past at all. Now, there's, like I say, multiple people that have said this, but it might be nothing. It could literally be nothing.
And to add to that, there's no evidence. There's no text messages. And I want to be true about that. There's no evidence, right? So it might be bullshit.
It might be bullshit. And what I love, though, is that this is a church fight. This is a fight between two people, I think, that are trying to fight over money.
Yeah.
And they're trying to fight over influence, over a specific group of people, and they're going to fight about it. And that happens in all different kinds of subcultures, and it's happening here in this group, and who knows if it's real or not.
Right.
But what's crazy is if it is real, think of how long that guy has been doing this and how quiet he's been able to keep it.
I know.
And vociferously fighting against what he is for so long.
Right.
That's really.
And the only reason this matters is because he is influential. I didn't know he was influential. Yeah. This article was really revealing because I guess he was a prominent big deal figure within this
I had no idea.
subset of a subset of a niche of a fucking small pond.
But the thing is, though, do you remember the guy we had on our show, David Pakman? Do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember David Pakman.
David Pakman had a conversation with him. They had like a kind of debate. I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, it wasn't much of a debate because this guy's a genuine clown. Yeah. So he's not anybody who I think is even close to the level of smart that David is, but like he's one of those guys that other people know about.
Right.
And I think Right Wing Watch made famous, and people watch Right Wing Watch that are on the right because they want to find these very vocal, very sort of these people that are like strike points that like have this very loaded language that really speaks to the sort of the deep down gears of what it means to be that, you know? And I think that they seek this stuff out. So they'll seek out this Right Wing Watch stuff and they'll be like, oh, yeah, that guy who's saying that we should lie because it's in our best interest, I want to follow him.
Yep.
And then they'll just follow him. And this guy is, you know, one of those guys. And
I will say, too, just to call the elephant in the room, the right also has a handful of carefully selected people of color.
Oh, absolutely. No, this guy is 100%
that they have. They monetize certain people of color, and they do the same thing for women as well. And they
yes, absolutely.
And they hold those people up as exemplars.
Yes.
And that way they get to sort of hide their racism and their misogyny behind this sort of veil that only they believe, right? Because what they have is the sort of pseudo-intellectual version of, I have a black friend.
Sure.
As if that somehow shields the rest of your racist activity.
Was it Herschel Walker who was dogging on black men and being absent fathers?
Absolutely. And Jesse Peterson does this constantly.
But Herschel Walker was?
Yeah.
Like that's what he did?
Yeah. That's part of how he rose to prominence.
And so that's like his thing.
Right.
And so and it's one of those things that if you are an insider in that group, you can say these things and not be a white nationalist.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And so they can rally around that and say, no, look at who we found.
Right.
We found a guy who's willing to say all the things the white nationalists are saying. He just happens to be black.
We found a guy who will take our paychecks and be our fucking shield. There is a certain element that there's like, these are kind of like race beards. You know, like with like a gay person has like a beard, you know, it's like your racial beard. Yeah. It's like somebody that like you're holding up to sort of hide the reality of your fucking white nationalist racist bullshit.
It's all just bullshit, but they find somebody who can tout it.
There's a part of this article I have to read just because it's fucking funny. Right. Peterson's ideas about gender can be eccentric, even by the standards of his compatriots, with Peterson claiming that a woman who orgasms during sex is somehow becoming a man, a practice he frowns upon. This is one of those self-owning moments where this is like fucking Ben Shapiro talking about how like a wet pussy's a disease.
He's talking about, man, my fucking wife's pussy's so dry.
Right,
like so dry. Guys, when you're shitting for 6 straight hours at a time, do your legs sometimes fall asleep when you're shitting for 6? Like when somebody says that, you're just like, what is happening in your life? What is going on?
I love a guy who calls himself out as being bad in bed.
Yeah.
Right? And he's blaming. Well, look, I haven't been with one of these. Look, I haven't been with one of these women with orgasms.
I don't like these manly women with orgasms.
I mean, not that I ever assumed he would be good in bed.
Yeah.
But I mean, to call yourself out. Holy shit, dumbass. And then obviously the manosphere people gobble it up because they're just like, I'm also a selfish lover. 100%. I'm also bad in bed.
Wait, hold on a second. You're saying that women can orgasm?
But
what?
Why would I bother with that?
What? Gross. That's amazing, man.
What are you going to treat them like people next?
Amazing. That's fucking amazing. It's such a crazy line where you just think, yikes.
Yeah.
Fucking yikes.
This is like when
I feel super sorry for everyone you've ever touched.
Yes. Seriously, I read this and I thought, of when Jordan Peterson relayed the dream about his grandmother's
you're talking about
pubic hair or whatever.
Dude, keep that to yourself.
What are you saying that
keep
for?
Keep that to yourself. You could not get that out with enhanced interrogation. You could not get that out.
Thank you.
If this was what I thought, you couldn't get this out.
Thank you.
Fucking Jesse the Body Ventura with a fucking rag and a bucket of water couldn't get this out of me. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Fuck you.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
Out loud and everything.